The way I see things is if you're going to learn from someone, learn from the best. Unfortunately, we've only got me, so we're going to learn from Mark Kermode today, who is a film reviewer that I think is the authority on film critique. So we're going to be looking at how Mark Kermode reviews a film. First though, if you're new here and you're a film student or maybe a media student, or maybe you want to be a film critic one day, consider subscribing to keep up to date with all of my latest videos which are film and media related. Now, for those of you who are outside of the UK, or perhaps you've not heard of Mark Kermode before, he is a film critic who works for the Observer newspaper, for Sight and Sound magazine, and I love what he has to say. That's not to say I always agree with his opinion, but I love the way that he justifies it, and I certainly respect his opinion very, very much.
But you read, there's so many filmmakers say this thing, that you make a film, and the first thing you do is get your favourite scene and take it out. And see whether the film works with it, okay? So see whether the film works without it. And then go through the whole film and take every single scene out. And don't put it back unless the film doesn't work without it.
So today we're going to put his critique style under the microscope to see if we can all be a little bit Kermode when we're justifying our opinions on a film. So how do we actually start writing? The very first thing we've got to do is provide some context, and this isn't as simple as just saying who the director was, when it was made, and who the stars are. Great film critics will tell us how and why the film came to be in the first place, whilst also providing that key information. Look at this snippet from Kermode's review of The Wolf of Wall Street to see what I mean.
So The Wolf of Wall Street, new film by Martin Scorsese, based on the memoirs of Jordan Belfort, who was a trader who began his career, as per the movie and as per real life, then set up Stratton Oakmont and started making, a huge amount of money through behaving, shall we say, on not just on the very edge of the law, but in a way that ended up, with him doing hard time. And during the course of the movie, he's played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and we see his rise to staggering wealth.
In this short clip, we learn who the director is, who the stars are, but also the fact that it's based on a true story, and a bit of context about the era in which it's set. That's pretty useful information moving forwards. Next up, Kermode will always jump into a very succinct plot outline, something he sometimes calls the setup. And there's a very fine art to this, because we're not trying to sell the film like the blurb on the back of the book. We just want a clear explanation as to who the major players are and what the obstacle is that that character is going to face. Check out this plot outline or setup for The Dig.
So Ralph Fiennes is Basil Brown, self-taught archaeologist, wears his learning very lightly. He's enlisted by Edith Pretty, played by Carey Mulligan, to excavate these what look like they're burial mounds on her property. And during the course of the film, we see this unlikely friendship between these two very different characters start to emerge.
20 seconds. How crazy is that? And with that, we have all the information that we need to fully understand what he's going to talk about for the rest of the review. Like I said, there's a fine art to this, and the more of his reviews you listen to, the more you'll spot the intricacies of what to include and what not to include. Okay, now we get into the actual review, what you think of it. And here's the secret. A great film review is not actually about whether or not it was good or bad. It's about how it made you feel. Think about it, that's what cinema's all about. You go there to experience something, to be scared, to feel romantic. Check out this review for Uncut Gems, in which Kermode explains very, very nicely how it made him feel.
I keep going back to this phrase, like a rising wave of anxiety and panic. And what the film did, and it did it so brilliantly that I actually sort of started to feel almost claustrophobic in its company, is it's like it grabs you because it ties you to this character who is so difficult.
How do we emulate this? You need to get into the habit of really thinking about how you feel during a screening of a film and how you felt immediately after. Let me give you a couple of examples which made me feel a certain way, positively and negatively. Star Wars The Last Jedi left me feeling disappointed and kind of angry at how the franchise had been handled, although there were moments where I was really excited by some of the unconventional ways scenes were shot. Interstellar broke my mind in a really good way. It left me considering all sorts of philosophical questions about family, time, the universe, honestly for days after I saw it. I literally felt like I had been on a journey across the galaxy. Notice that in both cases, I'm not saying anything as ambiguous as it was good, it was bad, but you do get a clear sense of whether or not I liked it based on how it made me feel. Next, we get to the meat of the review, where we actually talk about the specifics. And this isn't a test of technical knowledge. If Kermode wanted to, he could analyze a film using all manner of different film theorists, but that wouldn't be accessible to most people. It's about picking out specific elements that made you feel the way you did. And you can't cover all of them, maybe just like 3 or 4. These things could be anything, the things that really stood out to you the most. It might be a specific performance, it might be the writing, the lighting, the costumes, it could be anything. Check out this example from Kermode's review of Cruella.
I mean, my reservation would be, it's called Cruella. It actually probably should have been called the Baroness, because the real Cruella in the film is Emma Thompson's character. I mean, what in terms of Emma Stone's character, who is Estella then becoming Cruella, she is, although she kind of goes off the rails somewhat, it's the Emma Thompson character who is really chewing the scenery and really actually channeling the Glenn Close energy.
Now, in this particular example, he picked out primarily the performances of the 2 main stars, which are arguably the most important aspect of a character piece. He clearly explained how the performances contributed to the overall film and how it made him feel. Now, going back to my 2 examples of Star Wars and Interstellar, I'd only have enough time to bring out maybe 2 or 3 things that made me feel the way I did and go into detail about them. For Star Wars, I disliked what they did with Luke Skywalker's character. They made him a hermit and a bit of an oaf, and to a long-term Star Wars fan like me, I felt really quite angry. Later, I felt like the entire chapter of the film, which was based on Canto Bight, was pointless to the overall story and almost made me feel a bit bored at times. But then again, on the other hand, there are moments such as the amazing lightsaber battle towards the end of the film, which got me so excited because they were shot in such a different, unique, new way to what we'd seen in all previous 7 Star Wars films. For Interstellar, I thought Matthew McConaughey's performance was exceptional and made the relationship between him and his daughter feel all the more tragic and authentic. I felt like the scientific complexity of the script was just enough that everything felt completely feasible without me losing the plot and feeling confused like Tenet did. Finally, the way that the space sequences were shot to resemble actual footage and the clever use of documentary-style interviews made the film feel completely authentic and believable. I was fully invested. Depending on where you're putting your review, you can cover a few points in as much detail as you like, or you can expand and write a whole bunch of points. You could write an essay on it. It's completely up to you, and like I say, the output for your reviews. Finally, Kermode very rarely actually gives anything a star review or a rating. He simply says what kind of experience you can expect and whether or not he would recommend it to a very specific audience, for example, an animation to a family audience. Let's go back and see how he does his outro to Cruella.
Other than that, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I like the music cues. I think it'll do well. And as I said, when we consider how easy it would have been to completely drop the ball, I think the fact that it's fun is not to be underrated. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I think it is baggy. I think there's, one too many sections in it. But I think Emma Thompson just sets the screen on fire.
The last tip I would give you if you're going to start writing film reviews is to be authentic. This is your opinion and nobody else's. There's no right or wrong answer. To give an example, Roma, for me, it's an Alfonso Cuarón film, a director who I love. It was really, really well received by critics all over the world. It was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I hated it. I just didn't get it. It made me feel nothing. I was just completely uninvested. So be authentic. People are only going to watch your reviews and listen to your reviews if you are consistent, if you are yourself. That's what they're after. That's all for this one, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, if you've taken anything from this film, I really appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And if you're looking for where to go next, you can check out my kind of review of one of my favorite films, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which you can watch here. Or if you need to brush up on your film terminology for cinematography before you start writing your own reviews, you can watch my video all about camera shots right here. Until next time, see you later.